Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. My name is Heather. I'm a homeschooling mom of 3 kids, elementary, middle, and high school age. Today I'm going to be doing a homeschool update for you all. I think that I probably will end up doing a big first semester reflections video come January once I have some time after the holidays to sit down and figure out what we're going to be doing in the next semester. I do have a very good idea because I put in so much pre-planning time during the summer, but I haven't really had time to sit down and go through my notes or really think about too much because we just finished last week right before Thanksgiving. My voice is a little shot today, so I do have my coffee here, which I will be sipping throughout this video. And if you've been here for any length of time, you will know that I tend to be a little chatty in these videos. So definitely grab a beverage and buckle in, or you can just listen to me. I'm not going to be showing too much stuff here today, and you can just listen while you are doing some house chores if you would like. So let's get started. Okay, guys. I am really pleased with how the last 6-week session went. If you don't know, this year I decided to do a 6 weeks on, 1 week off schedule. Some people will call this Sabbath schooling. That's how I've heard it referred to, but I just call it 6 weeks on, 1 week off. And we did start back in July. I do consider us year-round homeschoolers, and that 1 week off, the whole point was for us to have more of a focus on passion projects during that week. I will leave a link in the description box for my 2023-2024 homeschool planning playlist. That has a lot of videos about how I've structured our year, kind of how I've structured our weeks, with having one day that's more focused on passion projects and one kind of tech-free day. And so if you are interested in more of a deep dive, definitely look in the description box for that. The first 6-week session was awesome. We always do a slow start and kind of ease back into things, and the kids did a great job. My older 2 are so diligent and know exactly what they need to do and when they need to do it, and so that was all really good. The second 6-week session was a big struggle for us. We had sickness, we had cross country, which we were trying to balance, plus my oldest has a very heavy school load this year, and so it's definitely a struggle. And we made it through that 6-week session. It was a real blessing when we had that week off, and my kids did focus on passion projects a little bit, and I was able to get a bunch of stuff done that I needed to. So going into our third 6-week session, we felt really, really good. I felt really good, and we made the progress that we needed to in order to finish by Thanksgiving. There were definitely some adjustments that needed to be made. I had Emma listen to a couple of her history readers for 20th century world history, and that was helpful because we had gotten a little bit behind with our reading. We use Sunlight Homeschool Curriculum as our base curriculum, and it is a literature-based curriculum, and it is an enormous amount of reading. We're doing 3 different levels this year, so it's a lot of reading, and I like to do a large portion of the history with my older 2 kids, even though they're both doing high school levels, and it's written so that they can do it on their own. I enjoy reading the books with them and having all of that discussion. So that slows us down a little bit because we're constantly in discussion mode while I'm reading history, but then also just balancing cross country as well as sleep and making sure that we were getting all of the other things done. It was a little bit of a challenge for us to do that. I know that every year coming in, it's one of the reasons that we start so early, so that we can get a little bit more done before the busyness of fall sets in. Even though we're not in the public school system, once my kids' friends go back to school, it seems like everything is so busy. Emma has always participated in the music program at the public school. This year she is not. And then we have also done sports with club teams or the school, the public school. And so all of that gets going right in the fall. And yeah, so it was super busy, but I am really pleased with finishing all of our work before Thanksgiving. We are halfway through our homeschool year at this point, and that just makes me feel so good. I was a little nervous coming into this year, knowing that we were going to be doing 3 sunlight levels, because I have not really done that in a while. And I think that the last time I did it, it was when Lucy was doing the P3-4 curriculum, which honestly is not, it's not a sunlight level to me. It's more just reading stories and just having fun together. This year, Lucy is doing level D, Jack is doing level 100, and Emma is doing level 300. And so that seems like a lot more work to me, especially because I'm still doing history with my older two. They don't really have read alouds at this point, so I kind of use the history books as my read alouds, although Jack did ask me, I think in the middle of October, when I was going to start doing read alouds again. And I realized that I haven't really been doing read alouds with him. I have been reading read alouds with Lucy, but Emma and Jack, I just have not done any read alouds this year. And I don't know if that's partly because they are taking control of the reading for their Brave Writer resources, which we have not done a lot of this year. But typically when we're doing Brave Writer, the book that we are doing the guide for, I am reading to them because I like to know everything in the story, especially if I haven't read it before, and it helps with the discussion and the copy work and just the teaching that is within those Brave Writer guides. But this year, they're all doing boomerangs and slingshots, and they don't really need me to read those books, and I honestly don't have time to read those books. So instead, I've just been reading history, and Jack is not the biggest fan of history. And to be honest, this year has been a little bit of struggle for Jack and I with the new spine that Sunlight has for level 100. When Emma did level 100 several years ago, we used the Joy Hakeem History of Us books. Are they down there? Can you see them? Yes, I grabbed a couple. They're on this middle shelf here. So we used the History of Us, Joy Hakeem. There's like 10 or 11 books in the whole set that we read through, and it's a lot. It's a lot of reading to go through all of those books as the spine, and there were a lot of notes associated with it in the instructor's guide. So changing to this new book this year, which is called America, the Last Best Hope, I think. Now I'm forgetting. I will put it here so that you can see it, and I'll link it in the description box. It is long. It's probably maybe 800 pages, but there's there's just text. And while some of the Joy Hakeem books, especially the beginning ones, are definitely written for to me, like a younger grade level, they're just having all of the extra information in the margins and the pictures and the images helps break up all of that text, and it is a little bit more interesting for me to go through. So that has been a little bit of a struggle to go through that new spine, and I decided that I am actually going to switch back to the Joy Hakeem books for the second semester, but we will keep everything else. Everything else I really, really like in Sunlight level 100. The majority of it are books that we've already read, that I've already read, and so we're definitely going to continue that. But I knew probably about halfway through our second 6-week term that this book was just not a good fit for us, and recognizing that and still, trying to get to a specific point so that I felt good about saying this really isn't going to work. I didn't want to read, 50 pages and then be like, well, I don't know if I really like it. So I did about, the first semester's worth of history reading. I'm a little bit behind, a couple of weeks behind on the history reading, but it was just towards the end, Jack and I were just not feeling it anymore. And I knew at that point that I was definitely going to switch over to the Joy Hakeem books when we go back in January. So I'm feeling much better about history for Jack as we continue to the second semester. So everything else with Jack has been going great. I love his Japanese program. I love that he comes to me and tells me little things that he's learning, or recognizes or compares with Emma, who's doing Spanish 3 through BJU Press this year. It's really interesting to see the differences and for him to gain so much knowledge. He is just about done with the first book from Zero, book 1. Now, when I purchased that workbook and I had him start the YouTube videos, I was really assuming that it would go through the full year, but he has progressed wonderfully through that book, and he has just about completed all of the YouTube videos and the workbook associated with those YouTube videos. So I think that I'm going to end up purchasing book 2 for him for the spring semester. It might not be until the end of January that he is completely finished. I've also considered having him go back and go through all of the beginning videos again, and just to quickly go through them and review what he has done from the beginning of the workbook to really solidify that information. It is really hard for me to understand how to teach him Japanese. He did not want to have any sort of online class where there were other people involved with the class. He just didn't want that pressure for himself. And so this From Zero program has been really great for us. There are subscriptions for From Zero that you can subscribe to and get extra help and extra resources. I haven't felt the need to do that yet, but it is something that I have been considering. But I think that once he kind of goes through all of those videos again and reviews what he has done in book 1, we'll move to book 2, and I will probably ask him to start also using Duolingo to make sure that he's getting pronunciation correct, because the YouTube videos do help a lot with pronunciation, because you're mimicking what the video is telling you to do. But I think that the Duolingo will be helpful. Although I have recently seen, or maybe my kids told me, that it is not free anymore and you have to subscribe. So I have to kind of look at that, because if that is the case, then I would prefer to subscribe to the community and the lessons that From Zero offers. But I'm really pleased with how well he has done. Japanese is something that he has been talking about studying for years, because I think pretty much since he had any idea that he at some point would have to do something besides just hanging out at home, has wanted to work at Nintendo and wants to go to Japan. And so that has been on his radar for almost a decade at this point. So starting him on some of these resources has been a lot of fun for me to see. It is challenging work, and it is hard because it is so different from English, obviously, or even, Spanish or French or Italian or any of those languages. So it's been a little bit of a challenge. The brush strokes for they're not letters, they're like phrases or characters, I guess, has also been a little bit of a struggle, but and I think that's partly because he is left-handed, but I think that he's doing a great job, and I'm really proud of him for the work that he's been doing with Japanese level 1, and I'm excited for him to continue that. Now, Lucy is also doing wonderfully. She, at the beginning of October, decided that she was going to start NaNoWriMo early, and that was really exciting for me to see. I set up Emma's old Chromebook, which barely works. It will turn on, but it does not update anymore. There is like all kinds of issues with it, but it turns on and she can access Google Docs. So she started typing her own little story at the beginning of October, and I think she got to about 3,000 words or 3,500 words on her own, which I think is amazing. It's not formatted correctly, and there are definitely a lot of misspelled words, but she really had a great story and typed it out and shared it with everybody and had everybody read, and it was a lot of fun to see her blossom that way. She has seen Emma and Jack participate in NaNoWriMo for years. Last year she did participate as well, and she just told me the story and I typed it out for her. But this year she really took initiative to type out her own story and really put in the work, and I'm very proud of her for that. The struggle area for Lucy has been multiplication tables. We did the 2, 3, 4, 5, which were pretty good, and she felt very confident with those math facts. But when we started getting to the 6, 7, 8, 9, she started to struggle. And so instead of continuing with those multiplication facts and those multiplication pages in her Singapore 3A, we ended up going forward to the money units within that Singapore 3A book, and she started using Extra Math, which is like a online math facts program. It's free, and so she will go on a few minutes each day and work through whatever thing it is that they're working on. It has addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. I think the struggle was that in Singapore, they do kind of go back and forth between different things. Like they learned they learned how to do the multiplication, and then they started doing long division, and then they went back to addition and subtraction, and then they started doing multiplication again. And so when she was 8 at the time, now she's 9, switching back and forth between all of those math facts for like 3rd, 4th, and even a little bit of 5th grade, this is the time when they really need to focus on memorizing all of those things. Switching back and forth between addition and subtraction and multiplication and division can be confusing. And so just slowing down a little bit was helpful for her. So we have not actually finished book 3A, but we will get to that in January. And I'm really not concerned about not finishing on time. Obviously, if your kids need extra help or they need to slow down on something, especially when it comes to math, definitely do it. Once your kids start having tears or are really upset when they are trying to get through exercises, they are not learning. And you are just forcing them to do something that they are not actually retaining. So we always back off in that case. And thinking about it, I remember Emma and Jack having the same struggle with level 3 and level 4 from Singapore math. And it was just kind of a struggle time for them to really solidify all of the math facts and have that recall so quick to be able to get through the workbook exercises in a normal or what we would expect to be a normal amount of time. So I am really pleased with all of the work that she's done. She has done a great job with her cursive, and her handwriting has improved a lot with the Spelling You See workbooks, which I got more for copy work and less for spelling, but she's done a great job with that. She's excelled with her reading. She's reading so much now, and I'm really happy about that as well. I think that I mentioned in the last 6-week update that she finished all of the readers for the year, and so I haven't quite figured out what to do about the readers, because some of the level D readers, she can read them, but they are just not interesting to her at all, and she has read the ones that she likes. So now I know that obviously she needs to read what I provide for her to read for her learning, but I do want to find a happy medium, because I want my kids to love reading, and I don't want to force material on them that they just don't enjoy. And so we've been taking a lot more time to go to the library and choose some books, and I always just discuss what she's reading with her. Whenever she's reading, I ask her to tell me about it, tell me the story, what's her favorite part, what would she change, all of that kind of stuff. That's kind of how I start with any sort of discussion-based learning that we do in our school, which is a large portion of the learning that we do. I'm just always asking questions and clarifying questions and letting them just chat with me. So overall, I'm really, really pleased with how things have been going. Now, I will talk about NaNoWriMo a little bit in my goals video, which will be up on Friday, but I will share NaNoWriMo has been a challenge for me this year, and I have not really been as successful. Lucy was really successful. Jack and Emma have been doing great. Although the past week or so, because of the Thanksgiving holiday, we really didn't focus on any writing at all, and so the kids are behind. They start out really strong at the beginning of November, but taking that large chunk of time off has been a struggle. So Emma today got up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and she has decided that she is going to have a 10,000 word day today. So she wrote this morning and now is out for a run and will come back in and write some more. I'm not sure what Jack's going to do. I think that he's almost at his word goal, but he has been focusing on creating a video game in Unreal Engine, and that's really taking a lot of his time at the moment. I think that I am going to hopefully get him to finish NaNoWriMo maybe this week or next week, at least to meet his word goal, because that is a big part of our language arts and English curriculum for the month of November. We kind of put all of the Sunlight writing, creative writing, essay writing, all of that stuff on the back burner to focus on our NaNoWriMo projects. And so I do want him to kind of finish it, that he has done what he needed to do for the month of November. Overall, I'm really pleased. Emma has had a lot of fun with her second project. If you had seen any of my vlogs for the end of October, she wanted to get to 30,000 words for a novel that she has been working on since I think August, and she did get to the 30,000 words at the end of October, so she was really pleased. She needed that break and from that story, and so she started a new story, but about a week into the new story that she was writing, she started to get new ideas for her novel that she's been working on. I have been telling her to write it down and just kind of keep track of the thoughts, and I told her that this would most likely happen when she started a new story during NaNoWriMo, because it's like a procrastination thing. If you are writing one thing, but you want to go back to a different thing, but you're really forcing yourself to stay on this one topic instead. Overall, I am pleased with how NaNoWriMo has gone. That was another big project that the kids did a lot of work on the first, few weeks of November, but then we did take that big break. Now, going into our winter homeschool break, we are really just going to be focusing on passion projects. Emma has been talking a lot about trying to figure out what she's going to do after graduation. Technically, even though if she were in public school, she would be a sophomore, she is in her third full year of high school level courses this year. And so I'm still undecided on if she will be done in 2025 or if she will continue and do 2 more years of high school here. A lot of it depends on what she wants to do, and she doesn't know what she wants to do. That's typical, teenager typical. I didn't know what I wanted to do until after I had children. So there's that. But she's really interested in art and graphic design, and she has a bunch of Skillshare classes that she wants to work on. She's interested in starting a business with her art, and so I think that's going to be a focus for her over the next month. I'm going to help her as much as possible, but of course we also have a lot of Christmas and Advent traditions and other things that we'll be doing, so we will see. But just not having to worry about the normal homeschool curriculum is going to free up time for the kids to work on their passion projects. For instance, yesterday I think Jack spent about 6 hours working on his video game in Unreal Engine, and I think that that is great, that he has something that he is really interested in working on and is spending the time researching and figuring out how to code it and make everything work. I think that that's really good. And the same with Emma, if she wants to design stickers or make art prints or work on her skills that way. She has a couple of workshops that she's going to be taking part in, and just letting her have that time to focus on that kind of stuff is helpful. But she has been asking me a lot lately, what am I supposed to do after I graduate? Do I go to college? Do I try and work a little bit? She's really interested in taking a gap year and traveling, and which I definitely support. We do have access to college courses while you're in high school, and so that is another reason that we may continue on her homeschool journey for the next 2.5 years instead of the next 1.5 years, and let her take advantage of those free college courses. But we're just not sure. So I think we're going to spend a lot of time this month kind of brainstorming and figuring out some ideas. I've been doing a lot with goals and goal setting for my own personal life, but that is a big part of what I do in our homeschool as well. Mentoring my kids and helping them find resources and understand the different things that they are interested in doing. And so we'll be spending a lot of time doing that as well. It may not be as much at the beginning of December as it will be towards the end of December after Christmas, and moving right into the beginning of January when we work on our vision boards and everything like that. But overall, I'm really pleased with how the entire first semester has gone. There were definitely some pain points and some challenges in that middle 6-week term, and I think part of the struggle was that the week off prior to that 6-week term was not a restful and rejuvenating week for me. It didn't give me the opportunity to focus on getting some projects around the house done because we were super busy with some other things, a lot of appointments, a lot of issues with the cars, a lot of appliances breaking down and needing new things. So that was a little bit challenging. I feel like we recovered a lot in the last 6-week session, and I'm definitely happy with how things have gone. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the changes that I end up making for the spring semester. I don't think I'm going to be changing too much, but just the fact that we do not have any sports in the winter that we're focusing on, we have so much more time, which is one thing I noticed after cross country ended, which was kind of like right at the end of October. Those last few weeks of school that we had were so much easier because we didn't have to be anywhere. And I'm excited to see what we work on in the spring semester. Now, I do know that we're exactly halfway through all of our curriculum except for Jack's history, which again, we're a couple of weeks behind, but I think that we'll catch up quickly once we start using those Joy Hakeem books, and a little bit behind in Lucy's math, but everything else we're right on track. And so I'm really excited about that. It's nice to know that we are just halfway done with our year. And I'm really excited that we have the next several weeks off. I'm definitely needing some time to just rest and not think about homeschool for a little bit. So that was my very long-winded homeschool update. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you have questions about anything that I talked about, please let me know in the comments, or you can email me. My contact form is always in the description box. Again, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.